What's going on? It's another episode of Checks and Balances, and I got my guys, my dudes right here, the backbone of this album, man. We got Limit Break, and we got Paavo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got all together in one room. It was a little difficult to make this happen, but we got it going, man. 38 minutes of prep time. I know you're looking at me like you probably should have had this shit done.
Hey,
I'm just
man,
here.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say anything, but I mean, a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff you couldn't set up without us being here.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
for real.
So, it's all good.
But yeah, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good? Okay. All right, so to give you guys a rundown of what we're going to do today, we're going to go ahead and make sure that you guys know exactly what's going to happen, which is we're going to have breakdowns of the beats. And the songs that we're going to do here today are Landmine.
There you go. There you go. Landmine.
Landmine. And then we'll do Checks in the Mail?
Checks in the mail.
Okay. All right, man. Cool. So, yeah, man. So what's up? How you guys liking this whole album campaign promo thing going on the last few weeks?
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I think it's going great, man. You know, I mean, you're doing all the work.
Oh man,
I feel like, you know what I mean?
Hey man, but I'm just happy you guys are willing to participate, man. Because a lot of the time it's like once you have like a team, then it feels like it's a lot easier to share, a lot easier to like, you know, hey man, check this out, you know, throw back ideas or like just to hype each other up in a way.
Yeah.
No, I think the way you're going about it with the organization of the promos and just keeping us in the loop and including the folks out in SpitSlam, you know what I mean? And just having everybody in the loop, I think is the best approach to any album that you've done so far.
Yeah.
I know Trial and Error, you did a solid work there. You know what I mean? But then this is definitely, you had the ideas, you got the thing, and now it's just go. You know, a lot of the times, like for myself, I just don't want to stumble you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just don't want to be like, okay, you know me, man. Like I'm not. So an idea hits me, and I'm like, I'm already thinking about the work and the bad side of it. But then you're like, come on, man, it ain't gonna take that much effort. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I definitely made both of y'all do things y'all didn't want to do. So thank y'all.
Yeah, no Diddy on that. But I mean, like the main thing that I think that people are gonna get out of this as independent artists is it definitely is, for me, I always want to be music first, right? Like I always want to do music first.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, that's just not good enough anymore. You have to be more well-rounded, more of a business, you know what I mean, and take it with the seriousness. So, hats off to you and everything that you've done with this album. And, just to let you know, you can't go backwards no more.
Yeah, man, that's like I gotta do this every time it comes on and shit, right?
Because next album,
man.
the same sliced meat.
Sliced meat.
You're gonna have to do even more.
Oh,
more
yeah,
promo.
man.
I gotta
more
do something
videos.
bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. It's definitely it's easier once the album's done, you could and then do everything around it is easier than having the album out and then doing it. Because right now it's just like, okay, I can get up, I can figure out what I want to post, and I could send it off and put it on the socials. But yeah, man, and this whole process too. In the meantime, you got together and you made yourself a little record label.
Man. Sliced Meat is now official.
Nice.
That's you?
Yeah,
that's him.
I was wondering who's that. I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Who's this messaging me?
And so I don't know really at the end what the end game is. You know what I mean? But having a home entity for myself.
Yeah.
And, Hugo, you know what I'm saying? Let me want to do some
too.
beat tapes, you know what I'm saying? You can slide it through there. I eventually I do want to get into using it as a way, an entity for people just not to box in the Paavo and say boxing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not to be like, oh, this is all you do. No, like the mixing and the mastering stuff is going to be more of that coming. And I'm hoping to really grow that side. So if they look at just the entity Sliced Meat, then they won't judge me. You know what I mean? They'll just be like,
oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you mix one of my favorite beats on the album with people will hear when it comes out.
Yeah.
And then
Which one was that? Which one?
it's one of like the interludes with the
Yeah.
scratching and all that.
Ah,
You know what I
oh
mean?
you were
yeah,
talking-
yeah. I think
You
said
actually
had
did two.
planned.
I'm sorry, you did
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
But you said you had something planned for one of those, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get some action figures involved for one of the intro beats, and
That's
hopefully, it comes out and it it has Spider-Man in it, and it comes out dope. So if it all works out, it's gonna be tight.
That's tight.
It's gonna
That's
be
tight.
tight.
So
You
man,
know?
let's get you got your beat lined up. So a lot of these beats you were doing was on the 4000.
I split it. I was doing some on here, then I did some on the S2400.
Oh shit.
I did a lot of it on there actually.
And that's that
Okay.
Isla joint, right?
Yeah. I
okay.
did a lot of it on there, and then I did some of it on the 4000. I did the single that we just put out, Expose.
Okay.
That's on the
Okay,
4000.
All right.
And then there were some songs I did on the 4000 that we didn't put out.
Yeah.
There was a couple songs that I did on there that we didn't actually put out. So
Okay.
yeah.
What are you guys gonna do with those joints?
I don't know. Maybe
You know what
hidden
I'm
EP or
saying?
something.
Yeah,
You know?
come
Yeah.
on,
Slide
man.
it in
You
there.
can't leave that. No song goes unheard, man.
They're all
Yeah.
mixed for the
They're
most
all
part.
mixed,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all mixed and
No
everything.
song
Yeah.
goes unheard around here.
There's a couple of them I'd like to like kind of touch up and
Okay.
like fix. I think that's
Okay.
why they're not there. Is like
Yeah,
I could go back and like fix the beats. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's always,
Yeah.
that's always the fucking thing. Like, you hear, like, I hear verses, like we did music with like the
Yeah.
Cut Beatles, and
Yeah.
even like on some of the tracks that we did here, and I was like, man, I really wish I would have put some more emphasis in this part. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
There's one beat that we did. I don't think the song ever got mixed, but it's like because I record on the MacBook, and then I was going through like because I labeled them Limit 1, Limit 2, and I was like, damn, I forgot about this song. I was like, I think I have to resend it to you, but. I did
Yeah.
have a question because I got really curious. So, are there instances where you're using multiple beat machines to compose one beat?
On this album, no.
No.
There was no like meeting up of any machines.
Uh,
If anything, like I would just sample on one machine and then move it over to another.
Okay,
Just for
okay.
like a certain sound, whatever. But yeah,
Word.
recently, like we were just talking about earlier, like I'm not trying to use like hella machines anymore. Like
Just one.
I just want to use one. Like even doing a whole album using 3 different machines is kind of tricky because they all sound so different.
Yeah.
So it becomes kind of a challenge to be like make it sound right, because when you got like lo-fi ass like 12-bit sounding shit that's like super dirty, and then you try to I make some with the 4000 that's more like clean. It's
Mhm.
still like dirty but clean. It's you got to kind of figure out how to mix it and then where to put the song, because so they don't like clash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, Deegan, listening to the album as a whole package now, and the way you sequenced it and chose the track where it needs to be, I want to say that the Deegan mixing on the whole thing it makes it cohesive.
Yeah, it's consistent.
It's
yeah,
very consistent. Like, every
Right.
drum kicks hella hard. Like everything is really knocking the right
Right.
way. And that's the one thing where I think, like, if you find the right person to blend your sound with, you know what I mean? So not every producer is gonna be a great mixer, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta put up your hands and be like, hey man, I'm
Lease it out.
gonna trust you. Yeah, you send it out, and I'm gonna trust you for the sound. You know what I mean? And you create that rapport. They understand what you want, and so no matter what machine that you bring to them, they're gonna make it sound like a limit break beat.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
never gonna fall flat.
Right.
So yeah, that's cool that you were able to figure out that Deegan was the man for that.
Yeah, that's kind of like
Yeah.
going back to what we talked about the last one or the 1st
Mhm.
episode we did, where it was like, I want to work with someone that has like expertise in like a certain
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
That's where, he hella helps. Where it's like, I don't really know like how to mix this record. I don't even know where to start. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when you got someone that can like hear it next to the other songs and be like, okay,
Yeah.
and he's got his whole flow, just like
Yeah.
we have ours on
Yeah.
the MPCs or whatever
Yeah,
machine
yeah.
you're using. You got your flow and like your workflow, and you got your go-to things that you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Same thing with the engineer. They kind of know how to gel everything.
Yeah.
No matter what they're working on, it's gonna have like their touch or whatever. You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
So yeah, I appreciate
the
that.
one thing with that is, like, when we went to the studio, like we talked on the other episode, like that was my first time in a joint. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And when I seen when he was using that silver bullet,
Yeah.
He was feeding everything through the silver bullet.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh man, I got that plug in at the house."
The Silver
So,
Boy's
yeah,
device.
it's a
Yeah.
hardware device that he was
Right.
feeding everything
Oh, okay,
into,
okay.
and that was like his preamp of sorts. You know what I mean? But it
Right.
had all that flavor,
Yeah.
and it cleaned it. I didn't know how to use it
Mhm.
until I seen him use it. And I'm like, oh, that's what you do with that thing.
Right.
Because there's so many plugins. It's like
Right.
Yeah.
there's so much technology out there. It's overwhelming.
For
You know what I
real.
mean?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. So when I seen the way he used it, I was like, you know what? And so on the tracks that I did, I made sure to have that on there. So I like, okay, like I'm not gonna have the same ear as him. I'm not gonna same have studio as him. But if I have this element here, at least the sonics will be, we're cooking in the same oven, if not, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? And so like it's not gonna be the exact same because there's another chef there, but at least it'll be a little bit similar. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
A little bit similar. So yeah, like seeing that, it, it definitely does help understand when you start seeing professionals do their thing. Like, yeah, man, and you just
NPCs, man.
all those are that repetition, like you can't, a new guy is not gonna understand that.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of laps around the circle that you got to do in
Oh,
order
yeah.
to understand that. So, watching you work in the studio and seeing how many
Yeah.
elements you had in the beats, like I was telling him in the car, I was like, dude, like it's
Yeah,
hard
like,
to
yeah.
understand a lot
Like
of
little
shit.
sprinkles in there. You get it, like, oh
Yeah.
shit, you don't
Yeah.
hear it until it's singled out.
That's
in the tracking.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that was one of the hard parts about like actually starting to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Was like I would come in with like hella tracks,
Yeah.
and so I remember like the first time because I remember when I first met him, and I was going to that studio. I first started going to that studio. I brought this machine,
Yeah.
and so with this, for like all the nerdy part of it, like I couldn't track out each
Yeah.
because there's only so many outputs on this,
yeah.
right? So I was just using the feature where you could just like what do they call it? Explode the tracks or
Okay.
whatever, right? And they all just come out like exploded or whatever. You don't have to worry about like running the audio through nothing or nothing. And then but what it was doing was like it was exporting my drums in stereo. And I remember, or everything was in stereo, which there's nothing wrong with that. But like he was telling me, he was like, dude, your drum, you want your drums in stereo, your kicks and all that. I was like, oh no, I don't want that because I sample everything in mono. You know what I mean? Like that's how I do it. I don't sample in stereo just because like I don't know why. Like I've never sampled that way. I know like a majority of people probably do it, but I just don't. And then so everything was coming out in stereo, and I was like, no, I don't want that. So I would just be like having hella shit. I had to figure out like how to go in and like convert them all to mono, like to convert them and all that shit. The instruments that I wanted in stereo, I'd keep them. But yeah, so that was one of the parts where I had all these tracks and I had to learn how to like organize them correctly because I had there was a point where I had too many. I remember I was using hella hi-hats for a minute, and he would be like, dude, you don't need this hi-hat. You know what I mean? Like, just take it off, But I'm like, nah, but I like it, like, leave it there, whatever, and so that was like a learning experience. Is like, I don't need all this shit all the time, Sometimes, like, you could take away, like, this or that,
Yeah. So with this beat, did you have this beat already, like, the landmine beat that we're referring to?
Yeah.
Did you make it for us? Or did you already have it like something going? Not like for us, but
dude,
did you
I
have,
made
like,
this for you
in the
guys.
process?
I remember like because we had a couple of beats already, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna work on a new one. And then I had like this record in mind, like I heard it before. I've had this record for hell long, and then I was like, I want to use that sample. Like that'd be cool to use on this album if I could make it work. So I just had this idea of how I wanted to use the sample, and then and then the break too. I was like, I want to use this break also. I've never used this before. And when we get there, you'll hear it all. But I made this with the idea of like, oh yeah, this is gonna go on the album. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I hear that song, it's like a sweet short song.
Yeah.
It's only 2 minutes long. It punches in right in with the hook, and it goes into like because the verses aren't even that long.
No,
I think I go first. I think it might be like I get a 12 bar verse, and then he goes for 8, and then we switched it up again where he gets 12 and I get 8.
Right.
But yeah, I just really like how it turned out at the end. Because I'm already thinking about how if we do that song when we perform it, that shit's going to be like, you know,
Oh, it's gonna be
Right.
sick.
yeah, it's go.
Yeah,
It's like
gonna be
it's gonna
sick.
hit
It's gonna be
Right.
sick.
instantly.
Yeah,
you know?
especially at the beginning when those drums first kick in,
Yeah.
and you know that guitar twang, which is like westerny, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
like,
Right,
wow,
right.
wow, wow, yeah,
Yep,
that's
yep.
very. I could definitely. I remember when I heard it and I was hearing those little twangs. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like this is some showdown shit. You know what I'm saying? At the OK. You know what I mean? That's why I
Draw.
used the
Yeah.
quick gun for hire. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's what
okay,
I was.
okay.
Yeah, because I was hearing all that. I was like seeing it.
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
was like seeing us at a bar. You know what I'm saying? Just doing some shit at a western, all
Yeah, yeah,
dusty.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate westerns, but I
That's
don't
what
hate
you saw.
western movies. But I just hate the time. You know, it seems hella dirty and grimy. And
Tumbleweeds.
shit,
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean? Yeah.
Hella dusty.
Hella dusty. They always
Right.
have Mexicans looking like greasy. You know what I'm saying? Like you ever watch Three Amigos?
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Yeah,
gotta look
they
hella
always look hella
oily. I'm
sweaty
like,
and like,
why
yeah,
y'all look
yeah.
I
so
know.
oily?
Right.
When I think about the Western, I always think of like Back to the Future 3.
Oh, that too. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, you want to see how you want to take us down memory lane or
Well,
the
before we
construction?
get in that,
Oh,
like,
go
ahead. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this fool about,
Oh.
you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what is your like kind of process when you make beats? You know what I mean? Because you make a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
music, man.
you
This
producer,
guy,
I
yeah,
forget,
I know,
man.
man. Like,
Well,
Thank you.
mainly, well, so a lot of the times it's funny. So the beat exchange, you know, like those are random samples, right? So a lot of the times I have like hard drives full of music that I've downloaded from SoulSeek and LimeWire
Yeah.
because I was always doing, you know, like I fell out of love of hip hop in the 2000, like 2000, 2001. I fell out of love of hip hop. Like I hated the shit out of it. So I started, you know, digging crates and finding other music and other music genres. So that whole time I was listening to jazz, funk, you know, every break beat that there was and figuring out those albums and going out down that route. So I collected all these records and then I had to digitally import them. And after that, I was like, man, fuck, you know, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm just going to start downloading them. So I started downloading hella albums. So then what I started doing when I first got the machine, because that's what I work on, is I would go down a folder, I'd close my eyes, and then I'd randomly move the mouse and land on a name. And I'm like, okay, this one. So I'm like, I'm going to make a beat out of everything that's in that folder, no matter what. No matter if the beat's
Dumb.
crappy, no matter what it is. It's just a challenge to myself. So that's the way I was putting those repetitions in. And then, and it's funny that you were bringing up breaks. Like I didn't start using breaks until probably this last year and a half, because the whole time I was just, you know, keep my drum pattern simple, you know, dun dun dun, you know what I mean? And then when I started using breaks, I was like, oh man, this shit has hella flavor and it's hella, you know what I mean? It got hella movement, and I'm like, that's what it was missing.
do you like to chop the breaks like in little pieces, or
Yeah,
you like to
yeah,
take the
I don't-
single hits?
Yeah.
You like to loop them and then add in hits in there, like how?
So
how
that's funny. Sometimes I do, right? Sometimes I need to be a little bit more creative here. You know what I mean? So I do what you do and chop it up. But sometimes like the break doesn't really lend to that. So I'm like, okay, I could use the kick and the snare on this part. Then I'll use this fill on the later on it, and then bring it more forward, you know, and then I'll just add it and just keep it like that. But my drums, like I always explain, my drums are meant for rappers to rap on.
Yeah.
So the movement is not going to be sporadic like if it
Yeah.
was just an instrumental.
Right.
Right. So my focus is like as soon as my head nods and I can start freestyling on it, I'm gonna stop.
You're good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop. That's right there. So
Right.
yeah, that I mean lately I barely started getting back into my because I was feeling so stale with making beats. I'm barely getting back into the exercise of randomly choosing a song and whatnot.
Like, how do you get inspiration to make a beat? Like, is it like a record you heard before? Or do you get like an idea in your head where like, oh, like that'll sound good with this? Like, you'll be randomly like at work one day or whatever, and you'll be like,
absolutely.
oh, wait,
yeah, dude,
you know
I'm
what?
in
Like,
supermarkets everywhere.
right,
and I'm
right.
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I could loop that. Or sometimes,
That's
you
dope.
know, I listen to albums. Let's say I'm listening to a Charles Bradley album. All right, and then you know how sometimes it stops and it goes into a playlist of similar artists. You know, sometimes you just
Right.
let it
You
play,
stumble
and
upon something.
yeah, you
Yeah.
stumble upon something. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like that thing, and you know, a sacred soul song. You know, it might go to a soundtrack of an album, and I'm like, oh man, that sounds sick. You know, I never heard that before. I stopped doing the YouTube route
Mhm.
because I noticed a lot of people that were using the YouTube samples on those playlists. I started hearing them on a
Oh
lot of,
yeah,
you know
I've
what
heard
I
a
mean?
lot of records with all because
Yeah,
I listen, you know, I'm on
yeah,
YouTube a lot too.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
like
yeah.
go through records a lot of times. Like it's cool just to go on there too. Like not if you're sampling, but if you're just looking to discover something. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mm.
Like there's been times where I've seen like a record and I'll be like, oh, I wonder what that sounds like. So I'll just
Yeah.
like look it up. You
Yeah,
know, it's like
Yeah,
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 it's a
yeah, yeah.
source of like information,
yeah.
obviously. You know, and, but yeah, like you were saying, dude, I've been hearing hella people like
Yeah,
where they got their sample from. I could tell. You could tell. You
yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
I've been
Yeah,
hearing
yeah.
it a lot lately, and
Mhm.
I'm like, oh man,
That's dope.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's sometimes it's cool, and then sometimes you see like, okay, like for instance, like 3 or 4 tracks that I did, I just heard them recently done elsewhere by bigger artists. And then I'm
Ah.
like, oh, okay. So when I hear that, I'm like, oh, I think, and you know, your ears tuned in. But we did that shit like 3 years ago,
Mhm.
2 years ago, or something like that. We already used that sample. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you know, okay, we're tuned in. You know, we're
Mhm.
tapped into the right.
Frequency.
So yeah,
Mhm.
like people want, you know, the sonics don't lie.
Mhm.
You know, when you got an ear and you got something that, you know, sometimes it doesn't hit, but it's cool. But you got to keep digging.
Yeah.
You know, you got to find out. Oh, okay, this person sampled this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go down that family tree of people associated with it. People used to look on the back of the album cover and sit there, oh, this is the bass player from this Charles Mingus album or whatever, and they used to go down that road. This record label produces likes this type of
Yeah.
music, right? Unfortunately, like kind of like toy figures.
Uh-huh.
You know that this brand is going to provide this quality.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. A
Right.
Mayfix
So
figure or Hot Toys.
all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
things. Well, music is the same way.
Yeah.
You know, you might listen to some Sun records from L.A. or I think it was Sun or Solar. It's one of the two. It's like with the first ones that put out hip hop albums from down there.
Oh,
Um,
LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Sun.
Sun, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
They
talking
were
the Freestyle Fellowship?
Yeah, all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
so you knew what type of music was coming out of there. And then, you know, you got Philadelphia has their own labels, and Detroit, of course, has their own labels. But you knew the quality was tight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
nowadays, it's not, you know, you're
It could
just
be
hoping that it's playlists,
Yeah.
right? So you looking for vibes and shit. That's how you kind of dig in now. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, because records are expensive. They take
are
up too much
expensive.
room.
They do.
You
sure.
know what I'm saying? I ain't trying
Yeah.
to lug that shit around. I got records.
Oh yeah, I just moved like 3 times in like 1 year, and bro, like I left like most of my records at Nordic's house. Like he's
Yeah.
got most of my records. I
Oh,
just
shit.
I don't feel
Uh-huh.
like bringing them to my place, man.
And
I'm
they'll
just like,
probably
dude.
be there. They'll probably
Yeah,
live
yeah.
there. That's probably their new
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you know, kind of what I started doing was instead of like, cause I would bid on records a lot. Like the last 2 years,
Yeah.
or in like 22 and 23, I was bidding on hella records online. Like
So
I
you were
was
trying to get first press.
I was trying to get like hella shit because I wanted to make this album and then
Yeah.
the
Ah.
one before with Nordic One, right? And so I was just buying hella records, and then it got to the point where it's like I got tired of like bidding against people,
Yeah.
or like I would miss out on something I hella wanted, and then I just like figured out like I could just buy the wave.
Yeah.
And, like I'll just hit up because I still want to
Ah.
like support the people that are like doing this.
Yeah.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
these
yeah.
dudes
Oh, it's good.
that I'm buying these records for, they're from their
Still active.
they're like in the store digging. They're they're putting their stuff up online. For us basically.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a living. Whatever they whatever they can do like by doing this. So I'm still down to like throw money and like buy a copy of it. Even if I don't have the record, I'll buy the wave. It's all good. You know what I mean?
So
I'll mess
like,
with it.
You're going through like disc.
There's
Discogs or
dudes.
whatever?
I'm not gonna. There's dudes online on social media that I'll hit up, and
Yeah,
everyone.
okay.
I'm sure everyone that's watching this knows what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
That's dope.
Yeah. There's just so like if I miss out on something, like I'll just be like, hey, can I just get the wave, and they'll give it to me for like half
Yeah.
price or whatever.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
good,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're always gonna have a digital copy of it, dude. I spent hours with Audacity.
Uh-huh.
I would use like an Ion turntable, plugged it into my computer one day when I was unemployed for a whole year, and all my records I was feeding right into the thing, and
Yeah.
then I'd clean it up, learned how to normalize, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, all
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff, and that was a whole year's worth of work transferring my records to
Yeah.
Wave and MP3.
Man.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it
So
takes a
I
lot
got
of time.
I got some shit that I'm like, okay, like I've never heard this version of this song ever again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you know what? You just brought up a memory back in the day, back in 2000, when you had all them songs. You used to always do mixes for us. Like he would burn his mixes onto CDs, and we'd run around, go to the cities or wherever we went
oh
to,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we that'd be the thing. But one thing that you brought to my attention right now, what I wanted to ask you, Limit, was, all right. So when you're making like the interlude beats or the intro beats, like, are you thinking about like, how do I keep the listener tuned into this, without words? I mean, like, what I'm trying to say, how do you make sure the momentum's still going, the feeling of the beat translates, you know, what's your process through that when you're making the interludes, instrumental beats that you placed on the album?
For this one, like I just wanted. Well, there's one interlude beat in there that is there just for like the listener just to have just to fill a spot. Just for something cool to like to ride to, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
It's simple. It's towards the end of the album.
Yeah,
Like it's just like some just
yeah,
to
yeah.
like kind of nod your head to.
Give it a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, like with the intro, that has a very specific purpose, right? It's like the introduction to the album, so I wanted it to be like kind of explosive, and kind of like hard and like really emphasize like that, like this is the beginning. This is we're here now. This is what the
Yeah.
album's gonna sound like. It's gonna be heavy. This is like what you can expect.
Okay.
And so in the kind of the scratches go along with the theme of the album, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then later on, there's an interlude before the title track that I wanted to kind of connect.
Mhm.
It's a totally different, in a way, it's its own song,
Yeah.
but I kind of thought of it as an interlude that was going to lead into that song without like connecting it. I didn't
Mhm.
feel the need to like have everything like connect. It's like as far as like technically, like I wanted the listener just to be able to jump from one thing to the next. You know what I mean? Like one track. So it doesn't connect like that as far like like a De La album
Yeah,
where
yeah.
sometimes
Yeah, yeah.
but I wanted it to make sense with what was coming next.
Dope.
What I'm talking
So
about,
it's
like
a
the cult,
like a lead-in.
the one
beat.
that you
Yeah,
mixed,
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
cold check.
Yeah,
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of plays along with what comes, the title
the
track.
checks and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because initially, because my thing was like, I think I just gave you like, because I took all the skits and I sent you just the skits, and then I thought that was just gonna be the intro. But then you flipped it and you put it into the beat, and where it drops, it's fucking
So
dope.
you gave him the checks in the mail.
I gave him the skits,
Oh,
and then
tight.
he got that, and he
That's
did,
tight.
and he basically just took it
Yeah.
and put it where he thought it would be
That's
tight.
tight. That's
And
tight.
and one of the cool things that was dope too, man. Shout out to DJ Alex Mahia. He said like the intro really sets the tone to the album.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
But the crazy
know?
thing about the intro is like it was supposed to be completely different.
Yeah, it was.
Completely different. Like at first it
Yeah.
was gonna be like everything that you gave me, all the
Mhm.
snippets from the
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
and then the show and all that, and we're gonna figure out a way to like splice it together, right?
Yeah.
And lead into the first song. And then I was like, you know what? I got this beat. Like, it would be dope if I used it here. Let's throw like the samples over the beat.
Mhm.
But then I did it, and it was like it doesn't sound right. It just doesn't match for some reason. It doesn't have like the energy and all that it needs. And I was like, I could scratch the words in. I could try that. I was like, but I don't know if that's gonna work either. And then so I don't know if I asked you this, or I was like, is it cool if I get someone to introduce the album?
Oh yeah. And
So I asked Syph,
Uh-huh.
Syph 4, Syph 4, the dope MC from San Francisco. I was like, dude, would you mind like introducing this album? Because he just has like that voice and like that
Yeah.
kind of attitude, And I was like, it might be dope. And then it didn't happen for whatever reason. And then so I was like, fuck it, like let's just try something. And so I was in the studio. I was like running out of time, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna cut these parts in. We'll see how it sounds, and I'm gonna take all these different,
You
little.
did all that Deegan's?
Yeah, like
Oh,
yeah,
dope.
it's just like
Yeah.
out of just
Yeah.
not because I was waiting for him to
Yeah,
come to
yeah,
the
yeah,
studio,
yeah.
and then he called me. and was like, dude, I can't make it. Something happened. I was like, oh damn. So I got to come up with something now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just did it like right there on the spot. Like it happened hella fast, and then I was like, damn, this actually sounds
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So that was out of pressure then.
Yeah.
That was like running out the clock.
yeah,
Nah,
it was like,
that's
damn,
tight.
We gotta make
yeah,
this happen.
That's
Yeah.
tight.
yeah.
Hey, did you slow down the words when he says the checks in the mail, or is because it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I pitched
Okay.
some of the
That's
stuff
dope.
down,
Dope.
and then I just like multi-track, the
Yeah.
cuts, and then
Tight.
I tried to do it in one take. I
It's
didn't.
funny that you say that because I
Yeah.
was like, did he say it that deep?
Yeah,
I
no,
was gonna ask
Right,
you.
right.
I was like, did he say it that
He says
deep?
it a little quicker, but it still has that because he's angry when he says that shit, but
Right.
he's also being sarcastic. Because the whole point of that is like he's not taking shit from these villains no more, and the villain's like, oh, I'm sorry. Fucking Spider-Man's like, let's whatever.
Right.
So it's dope. It's
Yeah.
like the tables have turned.
And then shout out to Deegan because we finished it, and then I went home, took it home, and we were hella happy with it.
Dope.
And then he like emailed me or he texted me one day while I was at work, and he was like, "Hey, I think I just did something that's gonna make it sound even better." And he like put one of the words towards the end, one of the samples.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Here, what do you think about this?" And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, that's dope!" Like, yeah,
I'm tired of getting what I
That's
wanted.
some
some
shit
shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
some shit
yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's tight. That's tight that he took time and
Right.
was thinking
Yeah,
about it.
right.
It's dope
Yeah.
when like the people around you like they get excited about it. and
Yeah,
wanna fucking
because I didn't even
participate.
ask him to work on it. I wasn't in, like paying for that time or nothing. I don't
Yeah.
believe. But he did it on his own. I was like, oh fuck, that's
tight.
dope. Yeah,
That's
Dope.
real tight.
it was dope.
Yeah, man. Well, you want to get up into that? See what's up. Take us on a trip. Or you,
Yeah, why not?
Let's
try
see.
this.
Oh,
Alright,
hey,
so-
is the camera recording?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's recording.
Yeah. Make sure we get.
All right, so this is Landmine, right?
Landmine.
And then so this is the beat that I made, probably like the third or fourth beat for this album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I made this for you guys. This isn't something that was sitting around, like that I need to do something with. So my idea for this was I wanted to use this break, and I've never used it before, and I was just like, you know what, let me just see what I could do with it. But you're gonna hear it sounds like shit, honestly. Like, here, I'll just play it for you. Oh wait, no, see, that's the wrong one. My bad. Hold on. So I just started off with this, and I was like, so I just like looped it up. And most of the time, like, I never loop breaks. I always chop them just because, like, I feel like I'm not good at that. Like making a beat over a loop break, even though that's dope. It's not my strength or whatever. So, but I was like, fuck it, I'll loop it up. And I was like, but I can't just use this. I have to like do something else with it, right? Because it's been used 1,000 times. So then,
Which one's that one?
nah, this is
Wait, actually, I don't think we should be saying.
yeah.
that.
It's just I'm just drawing a blank right now, but yeah. This
Yeah.
is it's something else. But
Okay.
actually, that's in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So then, yeah, we did that right. Let me get all this shit straight here. I'll do one at a time. Okay. So then I was like, all right, let me do some other shit with this, right? So then,
You know the shortcuts now.
Yeah. Well, I know where to put my files at. My
I'm getting better
organization's
on,
better.
on Studio One. I'm starting to like learn how to
my
do
bad.
that.
The automation on this is weird sometimes because like it'll just do shit that I didn't want it to do. I don't know. But anyways, then I add this hi-hat right there, right?
Yeah.
And I ended up changing it later on. Like I retracted and did it a little bit different. But this is how it was when I started making the beat. And then I just started layering the drums some, I added this is like a little ride.
This is so dope. This is gonna come out fast.
And then at this point, I'm just kind of like, all right, like I wanted just to keep building on it, to make it sound like my own or whatever, right? And then I add this. It's just like a snare that I wanted to like have a snare that had like a big splash without using any reverb. So I like sampled this one off this record with a snare. It sounds like it has like a big reverb on it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you a drums first guy.
What's up?
Drums first.
Sometimes, yeah. It's easier for me
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the main sample is like this, right?
That's a bass line.
Bass come in,
That's I just chop that up into 3 parts. And for people that are watching this, I'm sure they've heard that before. You know, that's on a really like famous hip hop album underground, like a classic. But I had that record for a long time. I was like, I always wanted to use it, you know. So I was like, let me try to use that like my own way or whatever, right? So, and then I was like, well, you know, I gotta like add something else in there, right? Like something like kind of fill the space, right? And that kind of like fills up, yeah. And that's from like a, what is it, a modern jazz quartet record, you know, just like it's just like a little sound, and I just like put some delay on it, and then it kind of just like fills up that little space right there. And I'm like, okay, what else? What else can I do with this?
How many layers is that right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
But actually, like 3 of them are I separate them on different tracks just so I could like mess with them if I had to, because I chopped them up, you know, just to kind of level them out. And then so I was like, well, let me just try to like fuck with a bass somehow, you know, like so I sampled something else off another jazz record, and then it's just like.
Those are two different bass lines.
Yeah, I just tried to make it sound like it came from, you know, like the goal is, I guess, to make it sound like it comes from the same place, right?
I thought it was the same dude.
Yeah.
Okay, that's sick. You just pieced that up. Damn,
Yeah.
man. Jigsaw puzzle right there.
Right. And then, so then I wanted to keep like adding on to like the snare. For some reason, like I was obsessed with how the snare sounded on this. Like I just wanted to make it sound like hella like splashy, right? So then I added this one. Everyone knows this. If you could like subtly hear it. It's the mountain. The sample from Mountain.
Because everything's filling the space as.
And then I added one more snare on there. Like,
get another snare on top. Oh yeah. And you bring that on when you're sequencing the beat out. You're bringing that on like during the hook only, or.
So, no, these all play through the verse. Yeah, yeah. And then all the drums play throughout, I think, most of the beat. Yeah. And then I put this, I think there was like one more, I needed like another kick, right? Because the loop is just, it's not strong enough. So then I added like another kick, which is like, you'll hear it here. It's like from that
little ghost kick thing.
And then I added like some little horns and shit here. I added like this splash. There's like, I don't know, I forget where I got it, but there's like a splash that I put over the snare. So.
Yeah. I wouldn't have heard that until now. Yeah, so you just did that. I was like, holy shit.
You got everything.
Yeah.
And then, see, that's
You know that part where it says 3 a.m.? Is that something you added, or is that
Which
like
one?
Like at the end, in the beginning of the record, it says something.
Oh, that's
3 seconds.
Oh, 3 seconds.
I thought that. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't say that?
I didn't say that. I thought you said that, so I just ended up saying it, repeating it. No, shit, there's a ghost on the
Oh
right.
yeah, there's a. It says give us 3 seconds to think about it.
Yeah.
Give us 3.
I thought you did it. I'm like, I was gonna ask you. I'm like, what do you mean by that, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
Oh, that's
That's
hilarious.
dope, dude.
It's just like a bunch.
That's
of,
funny.
like,
I just learned something new today.
bunch of different like.
So when you tracked all that out, you know what I mean, and you're sitting there, and Hugo sends the verse or whatever, and you're working there with Deegan. Do you think about the sequence at that point? Does he make some suggestions?
So what I did was this. With this one is I made the beat like it's 8 bars basically, and then I copied it over and over again. I did like intro verse.
Yeah.
The basic way you do it, and then I sequenced it out all before I went to the studio. I did all the mutes, like everything. I did everything, and then I tracked it out like that.
Okay.
So when I tracked it out, all the mutes were included. You could see, when you could see where everything was off, and then and we mixed it from there.
Okay.
Dope.
And yeah, I made like the little intro, that weird like little moog sound. And there's some stuff that didn't end up going in the record.
Yeah, because that part is new.
Yeah.
And
That's
there
what
we
you're
go.
talking about.
It's always good cues, man. Like it's perfectly placed.
Yeah, I didn't use that horn. I think I ended up scrapping that because someone else used it.
Did I check it out? Is it you?
No.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the clicks of the landmine.
Damn, man, you set this shit. There's no time.
I came outside.
On this particular song that dropped, the way I did that drop is I did a trick where I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I rapped it. Because at first I was trying to just catch it, but I kept messing up.
And the part when you said "pussy," did you just freestyle that?
Yeah, I was trying to do a. I got
I'm like, this boy French.
No, I think I was watching the Orange is the New Black. And then yeah. So anyway, right here, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Before,
But I'm Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm, yeah. That's the only way I could catch it. But little tricks you learn and shit.
Yeah, but that's the beat, man.
That's
I hope I did good enough.
Oh,
job.
that
shit was
yeah.
dope.
I honestly, man, I forget where everything is on this, bro. I'm like, damn, it's so all over the place as far as like where everything is at and like how. With this one, I remember this beat is a hot mess because there's so many samples, and then I didn't name like half of them. I remember just making it and being like, oh, it sounds good. I mean, I just kept going, and then got to the point where I could make the beat, sound like a song, and then tracked it out, and that was it. And I remember having to go back, because it sounded kind of off. Like this isn't the final version. Like when you hear it on the album, it's a little bit different. I like kind of moved some things here and there, like I did the shifting thing, and I changed some of the swing on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when from when you track it out, do you ever go back and name the files in here to like clean up files and whatnot? Yeah.
I ended
you
up
do?
going back and like
Okay.
naming everything and like making sure everything was in its place, because I remember the first time I tried to mix this beat, like it didn't go well at all. I remember because like he was just having a hard time hearing what I was hearing. Like he didn't know what I wanted, and because I had when I chopped up the main sample.
Yeah, because you know where everything's at, and he's just
Right.
listening to it for the first time. He's like, I'm not hearing what you're saying.
So this is the.
Wow.
That's the main sample, and then I just chopped it up into like 3 or 4 different
that's
pieces.
amazing.
But for some reason, when I programmed this, I had to have them on different tracks
Okay.
because it doesn't loop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds like it could, but for the way I was making it, it wasn't gonna loop, and so I
Gotcha.
had to like, and then I wanted to make sure that I can control each sound in this sample, because I kind of needed the
You need the flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened here? Oh shit, I can't hear it. Oh, the sound got cut off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I chopped up the sample. Right, I needed to have it on different tracks for for the purpose of this beat. And then it was hard to mix because some of it needed to be a little more bassier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some like obviously a little less.
Now, do you add the you add all your filters and effects in the box?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use all the effects that this machine has,
Yeah.
I pick the ones I like, and then later on, we'll add EQ after tracking it out, or like some more filtering,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Let's
most
just write a timestamp down.
yeah, right on. For the most part, yeah, I use all the effects this thing has, and then except for compression, I'll just leave that off.
Yeah.
I won't add any compression. I'll use like that what is it called? It's like the MPC 60.
The emulator.
Yeah, because it like beefs it up. It actually sounds pretty good.
It does.
Yeah. I'll use that on there, but I'll leave off any
That's
compression.
funny because that's the only one I use on the machine too. Is the MPC 60.
Yeah.
Because I try to use the 1200 version on there, and it's like, it sounds too thin.
Right.
But the 60 seems to have the meat to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For
this
sure.
one sounds dope with the
That's
60.
tight. Yeah, no, I like that idea of just leave the compression to later,
Right,
if needed.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't need it. Because I mean, when you're sampling, obviously you're sampling tracks that've been compressed, that've been mastered, that's have all this processing on it, and you're making your choices already to fit in those areas, and if you add compression for no reason, sometimes you could make it lifeless. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's tight that you think about it on that many levels.
Yeah.
Nice. So then we ended up doing the last song on the album, which was Checks in the Mail.
You want to load that one up?
While we talk about it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Checks in the Mail.
Yeah. That was the last song that we recorded on the album. That we did for the album. I think we needed one to like round it out. You know what I'm saying? So when I made that particular track, that was a trip.
That's the one with
That's the one with Blueprint.
That's
the one with Blueprint.
Okay.
So it was 3 verses. I wrote 3 verses to it, and then I think I was like, let's see, because sometimes I get tired of my third verse, you know.
Well,
and
third verse is extinct.
Yeah,
Not needed.
two verse songs and 2 hooks, or 3 hooks and 2 verses.
You a third verse man. You been a third verse man.
Well, so and for a while, I think it's because it's like, can I write a third verse to a song?
Okay.
Like try to challenge myself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think about it like that.
Like because
Maybe I should.
but as long as it's under 4 minutes, 3:30, 3:20, I think you're solid. I think I heard Merch say something like that in one of his songs.
Okay.
And I always kept that in mind. I think it was on the end of the beginning. But yeah, and then I was like, let's see if Print wants to, get on it. And he came back and made it, and it was, came out dope, dude. Came out dope. That beat was fire.
That intro, to me, that intro when you make it drop out.
Yeah, that shit was unexpected.
And just blah.
Where it goes, you getting caught, because that wasn't in how I sent it. The song. I don't think it had that drop there yet.
Yeah, we added that.
Yeah.
We added that afterwards.
Yeah, because when I heard it in the car, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
Dude, when I first got the song back, dude, I had to go do groceries, and I swear I didn't even want to take the freeway. I think I just, took the street so I could just have the song on replay and shit. And I think I was hitting you up, and like, hey, yo, man, this shit I think must be the best song I think I ever done, son.
Yeah, it came out super dope, man.
It came out tight, dude. Yeah. And then, the concept of the song is basically using money as a reference to show some kind of thing that you gotta do. It's metaphors. My head explaining it. You gotta listen to the record, but like it's paying your dues. That's basically what it is, And I needed something to explain that for the title of the album.
I don't think people give you credit, man, for the fact that you actually have topics on your songs. That's the one thing I always say, even if it's about, Ninja Turtles
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, you're always talking about something.
That was Spider-Man
You ain't
influenced.
what like you ain't rippity rapping about rippity rapping. You know what I mean? Like
I wish I could rap that fast.
I
Yeah.
or just in case I'm just
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
fliver,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like nonsense. Like myself, I get like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just gonna rap weird,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But then you always have some intention in your rhymes, ill intentions.
Ill
Some
intentions.
people might say.
Pun intended and shit. Fucking
Ill
one.
intentions, you might say,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's always a purpose with the song and the music, and,
I'm.
and people get gems.
That's a trip, man. Cause sometimes a lot of the time I get done with the song and I'm like, okay, it's done. And you go back and I'm like, am I saying something or am I not saying something? And sometimes I just stop and just put it out, man, and just keep going with it. And then when it hits, like for example, that song "Ill Intentions,"
Hmm.
like two people have pointed out that track, like 1 a.m.,
Hmm.
and then when we did I think when I did the thing on when I promoted the trial and error on the Super Duty. Like
Hmm.
that was one of Prince's standout tracks,
Oh
you know.
shit.
And then that song had a different hook until you was like, we'll just, you
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I ran it in the 404. Like I
yeah.
sampled, I sampled a part, and then I was like,
Took,
this is better right
yeah,
here.
yeah. We're just
Yeah,
gonna take that last line and make that the hook, and then we'll keep the telling part. I was like, all right,
yeah.
fuck it, let's go. But yeah, like with that particular song, it's like same thing. It's like let's see if it goes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And when you because it's a trip. I recorded that Checks in the Mail, and I'm hearing it right. I'm like, okay, it's not mixed. You gotta you listen to it. Okay, okay, it's cool. But then when you get it back and it's professionally mixed and it sounds like fuck, this is a whole different fucking song. That's why you can't count. You just gotta record it. Even though in my mind I'm kind of like, the mix that I'm sending, the soft mix or the pre-mix isn't won't do the song. It's cool, but it's not. When it's like polished and the magic is added to it, you're like, oh shit, you know.
Let me ask you,
Um,
and this is not to go back on what you guys already did, but
uh huh.
do you ever feel that after you hear the beat, the way it's done, it's like I want to go back and re-record this shit so I could hit the emphasis in the right way? Do
No,
you ever think? But you don't ever think
no,
about
no,
that.
no,
Oh
no,
shit.
because with that, well, with that hook, right? And with the hook, when I say to be this nice man,
Uh
you
huh.
got to pay the price. There was one part where I didn't want to use man in it, and I was like, oh man, because I just want to say to be this nice, period.
Mhm.
No, and then you got to
Yeah.
pay the price to be this nice. You got to
Yeah.
pay the
Oh, is
price.
that man?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got. Oh,
So
you
I
okay? You
kept
were
that in
dragging
there.
that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I kept that in there, and I had like, man, I should have taken that out, you know. But then I was like, nah, man, sounds fine. You in your head. And then I send it off to Limit. And like that's the cool thing when you have somebody you give the music to. He's like, nah,
Mhm.
this is good, you know. And I'm like, cool. I'm not worrying about it no more, you know.
That's good.
Yeah, I think
So
it sounds more natural. That you
natural,
said it that way.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, when you get the okay from the person you're doing the music with,
Mhm.
it kind of like just makes you like, okay, you just gotta trust yourself. If Limit said it's fine,
Yeah.
and if he has some suggestions I had to make, then I would obviously go back and consider them and maybe
Yeah.
change them and shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if nothing's being said and then it's just me tripping. But for the most part, no.
Okay.
But like most recently, like in the songs that we've been recording, because I've
Mhm.
been going to his house to record songs, he'll be like, put a little bit more, like emphasis or aggression or ruthless aggression into the songs, and then I'm like, okay, I'll do it, and it's not until I hear it and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I see what he's saying.
I see.
I see what
To
he's
me,
saying.
I think a lot of the times, and I'm guilty of this too. When I'm recording, like say, like I early morning, all right, because I wake up really early and I record before everybody wakes up, and it's the quietest in the house. But sometimes I notice that I temper myself. So I go back and listen to it and I'm like, oh, this sounds kind of dead, Juan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could be a little bit more energetic in this thing. And sometimes I feel that when we record together, we don't push each other hard
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So I think lately we've been like trying to challenge each other to, because we've always been told, hey man, your live show is dope, but the CD doesn't translate to that. So I always thought about that. I was like, man, maybe we should think about it. Not necessarily shouting and fucking being Onyx,
Yeah.
but to be fucking just to be more lighter, just to have more bounce and sway and all you're like your pioneers that you listen to, you're like you hear them, you see that they just have that energy on that track that takes a loop and makes it sound like it's
something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So definitely that's the only reason why I bring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta kind of like have fun,
Yeah.
let loose a little bit
Yeah.
more. Like the same thing with beats. Like sometimes I'll be making a beat and it's like, oh, it sounds too serious. You know what I mean? Like it need to have like a little more fun. Like not always be so murky, or sometimes be a little louder. In certain parts.
Like that whole laughing part in the beginning, I was like an outtake. I was like, oh, that sounds funny. Well, if he don't like it, he'll tell me.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool when I hear it back. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's a couple things that they kept in that I was like, oh, I didn't think that they were going to keep that in. Like a lot of the stuff that I said at the end of the tracks, I was like, oh, they actually kept all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. I'm not going
to. Yeah. I think on one of the tracks you said, what'd you say? You lackluster motherfuckers.
Did I say that?
Yeah. And I remember Deegan saying, like, you hardly ever listen, you hardly ever hear someone say lackluster. Let's keep that.
I think, you know what? Actually, that's one of the songs that we didn't put out.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's one of my favorite. Yeah, that's a good one. It's super laid back.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Probably one day that one will.
Yeah.
We'll give it some lights and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do we got going here?
What do we got going? So we did the edit.
Okay, are we recording?
Yeah. I'll cut all this shit out. Oh yeah, you gotta record that one. Oh shit, was that raining? Oh, that was you on the mic. No, it caught it on the mic. But it's it's all good. But yeah, you been working out, man? By the way.
Trying.
Yeah, you look slimmer.
I'm trying, bro. Yeah.
What's you laughing?
You go always noticing some shit. He goes, he's either complimenting you or he's dissing you. One of the two. That way you go. It's like, hey man, you losing a lot of hair. I'm like, motherfucker.
Shit.
I haven't seen you in 2 months.
New hat, man. New hat. Yeah, man. So checks in the mail, and back from the edit, and it's great.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. This motherfucker.
This is shit you mash and you cut and you put it together. Oh man.
So anyway, what are we getting into right here? Checks in the mail beat.
This is the beat. Yeah, I posted this on my Instagram like a while ago. But yeah, I made this beat actually. This was a beat that I just made. I didn't have it, in mind for anything. Actually, the way this started was there's a main sample on here, which is this guitar.
Yeah.
Oh.
This guitar
That's a guitar.
This is basically the start of this beat. My homie D4th from Canada. Shout out D4th, super dope beat maker, producer. Just put out that.
He draws too, right?
Huh?
He draws too. Although
He
D4th.
draws? Does he draw?
He draws.
I don't know.
I think I
don't
seen him
think
some
so.
posts. I mean, hopefully I'm not confusing.
I don't think so. I mean, he's
Okay.
like, I don't know if he does. He might, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, really dope beat maker. He sent me this guitar because he was like, let's collab on the beat.
That's
and then, so he sent it to me, and then I was like,
Producer love.
right?
Yeah.
And then I asked him, I was like, where'd you get that guitar?
And
he didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And then, he like very, he didn't tell me, which is cool. I like that. You know what I mean?
Mystery.
I just asked. I shouldn't even ask. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was like, oh, why did I even ask? You
Yeah.
know? But anyways, so this is how it started. I took this and I was like, you know what? All right, what can I do with this? And then I started making the beat. And then I found this other sample, which I'm trying to find right now. Is this one right here? And then I chopped it up. So it just where's that? Hold on. It's this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like a stab, But then it has that little
Yeah.
organ. So I tried to. I don't ever time stretch. For some reason I just like to try to do the 16 levels and like
Okay.
stretch it out myself. even though sometimes it sounds kind of fucked up, but it's kind of cool like that. You know what I mean? So, and then it's like a little, whatever. And then I stretched it out over 8 bars, I believe. When you listen to it now, it's like sounds like nothing, kind of. Right, and then so I did that. There's a couple different notes in that sample.
The camera's recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're good. And then, I was looking for drums. Needed to find like some drums, so I just started. This one took me a while. I didn't know how to play the drums on this one. Honestly, it took me a minute. I was like, dude, I don't know how to play the drums on this. And I had like different versions. At first, I was doing like really fast, and I was trying to do like this kind of bouncy thing. And then finally, I just kind of like settled on this, And it kind of worked like for the vibe of the sample, I guess. And then so, I threw the main. I programmed the drums first. And then I put the sample. I played it to it. Even though I knew I was gonna use this sample, I was like,
I could tell now that you're playing it back. Yeah.
But I had to change the drum pattern like so many times. And even now, I'm like, did I get it right? But I ended up liking it. And then I had like a little open hi hat on here.
That part that goes. That part always reminds me of like a snare where a snare would be.
What color is this?
This is greenish yellow. Yeah.
Right. And then so with the sample that G gave me, I was like, all right, I was like, damn, this could like fit. Because at first I just had this. And then I was like, the guitar could probably fit in here. And then I just kind of like tried to sneak it in there. Right. And I thought like that just made it sound
very
like hella
subtle.
harder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, somehow it almost sounds like it's in the same key or close enough, you know what I mean? Which is kind of like the goal, right? And then, but for me, like what really made this beat like a song was when I went and I got another record, right, this one right here, The Voices.
Oh yeah.
And then I chopped up
in the back.
Nah, so like
sounds
that.
like one.
It does sound
howling,
like one.
right?
Yeah.
So
that's all in the same thing. Oh, because I thought the girl and that howl was on separate shit.
that's from one record.
Interesting.
And I just like chopped up different parts of her, like doing this like
she sound
vocal.
hot, by the way. I remember telling you.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, she sound fine. Keep her in there.
And then well, this one I kind of had a problem with.
It also gave me kind of like a Thriller Halloween kind of vibe.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, it's like dark.
Right.
Dark
It kind of went with
gloomy.
it goes with the guitar.
Okay.
So that's why when I found this one, I was like, it made it more complete. Like it just added that, that flavor, whatever, like that it needed at the end. But the one thing that was kind of messing with me was like I couldn't get it to sound right. Really, I had to chop it up, and even if you listen to it by itself, it sounds like kind of fucked up. But it was this part, the end. So I chopped that little part. You could hear the pop in it, but this shit right here, right? It worked. Like somehow,
It blended all in.
Going with everything else, like it managed to work. And I always do this shit, I just did the little 16 levels thing, And so.
Yeah, like when you see the video, like, he tried it. I think he tried to match like the tone to the beat.
Right,
it's
right.
Like it's very grimy.
Right.
I don't think I've seen the video.
Yeah, you don't want to see it. You're like, show me what rest of well season. Which I'm like, I'm excited to see when you see it.
Premiere.
And then there was another voice that also
Malcolm in the Middle.
Listen, I think. Here, let's see when this comes up here. It's like she sounds like she's praying, and in the song, like he says something,
Oh yeah, he says
sitting on the couch,
yeah.
praying to God that it counts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then when I heard that, I was like, man, I wonder if that was like a reference. Like, did my,
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah,
symbol
yeah.
inspire that shit? I was hoping,
That's
no,
dope.
but I was like, that's dope because
Uh-huh.
that's like, that's what this is. It sounds like she's like praying, right? That might be what it is. Yeah.
I remember when we were listening to the song, because we had Visionary 4D Mario. He was on the camera filming, and I remember when we were first when he was first listening to it. I remember him hearing that couch line. That's when he started like he was laughing like, oh shit, print the shit is
right
crazy, man, so
yeah, that part is I love that part too.
yeah.
So I guess with this one, I feel like it needed some bass, so I just did a simple thing, and I think I ended up attempting to make it sound as best it could. Was I just filtered the main sample, and somehow it had like enough. And then when we mixed it, like it's kind of tucked, but it helps a lot. Like it just makes it kind of move somehow, And that. I used like a bunch of effects in this machine to like try to make it sound like a bass, and so it's basically that main sample, and then you can kind of hear it back there.
Yeah, it definitely adds body to it.
And then I added like some little rolls that are like tucked back there. The snare roll comes in there.
Yeah, the snare roll is tight too.
I hear the praying now. Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, I would have never paid attention to that until now.
And then I threw like another hi-hat on there. And I think we ended up tucking this one a lot. Just like enough, it's just kind of there. But like the part, right? Yeah. Exactly. The part, but then so I added all that, and then at the end I was like, it still don't move quite right, and I was just like figuring out a way to like make it a little more like like a head nod thing. It just sounded kind of too stiff at this point. Before I added this one part, and I think it worked, even though I'm sorry, my bad. Shit all over the place. So I threw this. Once I threw this in there, like it connected everything for me. But it's not even the loop is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like if you
it skips a beat.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But I played it in there. I was like, but when I tried to make it loop perfectly, it didn't fit. But when I played it like this, it was like, oh, it fits in there. You know what I mean?
You got it at the hi-hat.
Right. So then. That's and I'm sure everyone has heard that.
Yeah.
This is
the D-Wick, right?
This is that slide.
Yeah.
So then, so I just like filtered it, took out like the bass, and then like if you listen to it without. It sounds cool, but then for me, I just really like to have it in there. And it gives the snare more like a splash too. Like, they had like some little horns in there.
That song is fun.
I remember when I seen you perform it at the Maze spot the last time. I was like, oh, this one is a knock one.
At least,
You gotta make friends,
No,
not
yeah,
enemies,
yeah.
buddy.
No, yeah. No.
Leave that job to me. I'll make the enemies for you.
The yin and yang over here.
No, motherfuckers.
No,
Motherfuckers love him.
I
They
know they
love
do.
him,
Oh,
man. They
man.
attract him. They love
Yeah.
him. And then they be like, "Who's this motherfucker right here
nah.
pouting and
It-
shit?"
It all works out, man.
Oh man, hey
know.
man, I was talking to the wife about it, and I was like, yeah, man, like all the years that we performed, everything that we've done from 2005 till now, we've had our ups and downs of
Yeah.
performing and just egos and not speaking up about each other and just not making things clear. But the one thing that we're at now, is like we really don't care, like.
Yeah.
It's like the music is music, you know what I'm saying? And we know the confidence level is so high now that performing like this track especially, like I could envision like seeing him perform it the other day at the show with Afro and everybody. It was like, oh yeah, like complete ownership of the track, complete ownership of the stage. He was up there on his own, and I was like, oh dude, like there's no need for a hype man per se, but it's gonna add the extra element in the back.
Right.
You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah, for
saying?
sure.
Like it's gonna add that extra energy,
Yeah.
and it allows him to
Get a little break.
get a little break
Some
and get those and key, especially at the last track right of the set, to articulate well when he wants to be able to hit it, and that's the one thing that I think over the years when I stepped back and he stepped forward, the whole situation, it's kind of easier for me to see that now. You know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, okay, like this is where we're going to add the elements. This is where the energy's got to hit. This is where we're going to pick up the thing. And this is where we're going to leave the stage. You know what I mean? Just fucking leave it all there. Don't hurt your back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Don't bust your knee up.
Yeah, that's like years of like practice
Oh,
and whatever. And it's
dude.
like growth, and then like you
Fails.
start,
A lot of failures.
you start seeing like what you can do.
Yeah.
You know where you can do things, like how
Yeah.
you just everything kind of starts like revealing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To you and shit. Like okay,
And,
you
and
get
I
it.
want to. This time it's like it's funny because we haven't performed together.
It's been a minute, man.
It's been a minute. It's been a
Been
minute.
a
Probably
couple
since
years
the
now.
complex.
I think since the
Yeah, probably.
yeah.
When we
The
did
Complex
that complex,
show.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah,
do
the
that.
complex. That was the last time we did like a
I
couple
got
of tracks.
that footage. So if y'all need promo, let me.
No, I got a store too. But yeah, and we meshed automatically. First practice back for these sets that we're gonna do. It was like nothing, like right immediately back in line, and it was just my job to learn the tracks, and his job to give me the cues of I need you here. And once we figured that out, I was like, all right. We're
Yeah,
cool.
when you said Sin Vergüenza, I was like, oh, okay, he's doing that part.
Yeah.
Because I remember him saying he didn't like doing that part, but he's doing it. That's what I'm saying. Like Juan, he'll come through clutch. But like I hate it, but I'm gonna do it right. But I'm gonna do it tight.
So
Yeah.
like when I'm sorry, to
Go ahead.
bug y'all, but when you heard this beat, did you already know what you want to do with it right away? Kind of.
Yeah, because I think you sent it to the email,
Right,
and
right.
you were, and this boy was like, nah.
Oh,
This boy was like,
I was searching
claimed.
this one up. I was
Yeah,
like,
he claimed it, and I was like, damn. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, wait,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not gonna be on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Damn.
think I remember that because
Right.
I was writing to it. I think I wrote to it. I was writing it on the phone. Because it's getting to a point right now where I write on the phone, and then when I get back to like a space where I can sit down and type, I'll type it.
No.
Because I'll be on board, and then I remember writing the first verse from one part at the place at the job, and I'm walking to the other spot, and it's like in between that I'm writing and I'm stopping and I'm writing. I was like, oh shit, it's coming to me, and I remember Black Thought saying something. You got to be open to when the rhymes come to you. So do your best to try and write it down. Capture that moment.
Right.
But yeah, when I heard that beat and I had like 2 verses to it, and then I was like, I'm gonna keep this one. This one's mine. And then the hook came to me right after I had a conversation with somebody trying to sell me insurance. and then after I got done with that call, I went back to thinking about the song, and I was mumbling the hook. To be this nice, nice price, and to be this nice, gotta pay the price. I had that part, but I couldn't. It had to mean something, and I was like, the check's in the mail. I'll send it overnight. And I was like, fuck it, that's the hook. So
Yeah.
and I remember when I was like, fuck it, that's the hook. That's when I got on the incline on the 80 on the way to get off of Barrett, and I was like, okay, cool, that's the hook. And then it was simple because sometimes you don't need like a complicated hook. And that song was like, all right, you have the verses. Let's get back to the verses. Let this hook be the little small bridge before you get to that verse, and then that's it. Because I think I was making it too complicated. Like at first it was gonna be to be this nice, the check's in the mail. I'll send it overnight. To be this nice, but I wanted the check the send it overnight to be the thing it leads up to, because that's what it is. It's like I sent that shit already, so I paid the dues, but it had more. Yeah, I was very happy with how that one turned out.
Yeah,
and I was
it came out
very
super dope.
and it's like it remind a lot of it for me is it's the Spider-Man part of it too. Like, okay, I think I hope I made it make
Spider-Man
sense.
proud.
Yeah, in a way. Like, because of that moment, because even when he's like, oh, and when I say, oh, you turn wise, you're a nice guy, turn wise guy. Because that's when in the show, he's beating the shit out the Rhino. It's like, oh, so you a wise guy now. It's like, and then he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not calling the police. We're going to handle this now. Because the Rhino's like, take me to jail now. And he's like, nah.
He already knew the protocol.
Yeah, so he's tripping him out. So, there's that references there, and then there's the references to the, pay up now, fool, you're holding up the line, you know what I'm saying? And then the whole, it's like, I'm using money as the metaphor, but the thing, what it really is the effort, the investment, because a lot of the time we do put in a lot of time and emotions into everything that we're doing, to get honesty to be heard and to be listened to some capacity. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear this song, I feel like it's a cool, like if I was a wrestler, that'd be the beat I want to come out to.
Ooh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
let's go.
That's
and all I'm doing is just walking to, the rapping part is just me walking down to the aisle, just, cool as fucking Razor Ramon going through the ladder and shit, so.
That's tight. And then adding Blueprint.
And then
adding
Blueprint
Blueprint
was
was
icing on the cake, man.
adding Blueprint was the winner.
You guys
dude.
killed that song. I mean, when I heard it, I was like, man, like this really like puts like a capper on the project, and then just like the meaning of the whole project as a whole. Like I had hella fun like finishing this up, like being in the studio working on it, because
you did do some reworking, didn't you?
I did a lot, but it, like just like the whole message behind everything, like for me personally, like really meant something. Like whole checks in the mail, just that metaphor for like because man, when I first started like making beats and like trying to like share music, like I ran into so many people that would like tell me one thing, tell me another, like tell me they're gonna do this, tell me they're gonna do that. People that will come up to me, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then like they never do it. Like we all ran into that shit. You know what I mean? The people that said they wanted to like work on stuff, then they never do for whatever reason. They don't put in the time. So like just the whole idea of like checks in the mail, like putting in your time, your work to like
my stamp on it,
right?
My
like
deposits.
That shit was like I hella
That's
like connected with that shit, because there was so many fucking times with years where it's like, bro, like people let you down and shit. It's like, bro, you just have to like remove yourself from all that, all of them. You know what I mean? Like that's why I like that one song a lot too. I'm gonna draw a blank right here. Good Lord, Exposed. Right, like I gave that beat to someone like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, and then like it didn't come out. Like this was a person that was telling me they were gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and at the time I was like, man, I need like another MC to like rap. I need to like find someone that I could like make music with, and I didn't want to make instrumental music. I wanted to make music with an MC. You know what I mean? That's what I love to do. So, and then they did the song and all that, and I was like, fuck, man, like I'm not just really feeling it, whatever, And I was like, we need to mix it. Like there was just so many things I wanted to do the way we do it now. You know what I mean? That they just didn't get it. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, like we can't put it out that way. So I had that beat for hell long, and I was like, I need I need another beat for this album. And I
Yeah.
sent it to you. I was like, here, listen to this. What do you think about this? It's crazy
Yeah.
because I forgot about it. But then you made that song, and I was like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is dope.
It's
Okay,
dope.
and then
Uh-huh.
I did some, that I remember that beat was like 2-tracked. Like I just ran it through the SP. At the time I had a 550. Was it the 555, whatever? And I was running like all my beats through that. Just like try to
Give
make
it
it
that
sound.
flavor.
Yeah, try
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
it
yeah.
sound hella dirty and all that. And then, but I went in. And I was like, I can't do it like that no more. Let me like try to like really make this sound like really bigger, and like just do it properly. So I remember going back in and reworking on it and like tracking it out. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I sent it to you, it just sounded like, man, like
Yeah.
something totally different. Because remember,
Right.
I
Yeah.
sent it to you as a 2-track. And
Uh-huh.
then I sent it to you later on after I tracked it out and like mixed it and everything. And it just fuck that. Yeah, it came out like
Yeah,
great. You know
that
what I mean?
particular song. Yeah, that was a song that made you want to do an album. So
Right.
for the longest time, I sent them back when I gave him that song, or I recorded it. He listened to it, and then I was at Point Pinot walking with the kids, and then he's like, "Hey man, this song's dope. This one's gonna get us in trouble." And I said, and he was like, "Let's do an album," and then I was like, "Ah!" I was super fucking juiced at that point, yo. So,
Right.
so it's because it's cool, man. Because it's like a camaraderie, right? It's like you want to work, I want to work, But when we're both meeting up at that same spot, it's like, okay, cool. There's a mutual thing where you want to fuck with each other. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's cool because for the longest time I always thought your beats, and they're fucking dope. You know what I'm saying? And it's like to me to be like, okay, cool, man. Now we got this thing going on. He likes my raps, and it's something that we could both make and create. We bring him on, and it's fucking comes out to be something like this. And it's just like it's something you can't just make up. It's just a flow that happens, and we
Right.
ride the wave.
Exactly. Yeah. Just
So,
like when you get an idea, you gotta
Mhm.
like act on it like right away.
Yeah.
Or else like you lose that kind of energy.
momentum.
No matter how like it turns out, like there's been hella times when, I was like had an idea for a beat and I was like, all right, let me act on this idea, this energy, and then I make it, and maybe it,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it come
yeah,
out, but
yeah.
it's okay, because at least like
yeah,
I was like, okay,
Well,
let me-
I
let me-
scratched that itch.
right, yeah,
you
I
know?
know what you mean.
you kind of gotta like
Yeah.
figure it, find out what happens. You know what I mean?
Or when we were doing the photo shoot, and then Ed was just taking pictures of us, and then you were like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a beat because it's gonna get weird if it was just quiet and just having to take
Right,
pictures
right.
and shit. And then and then Lemon makes a beat in like fucking 15 minutes, and like the way he's doing it, he just gets on there, and then he grabs the sample. Ooh, this is dope. And then he goes into his little into apparently your bins or whatnot, records and shit. And he just fucking finds a cool sample and then starts flipping it. And I'm like, damn, this was just really did a beat right in front of me. That's just tight. So
Yeah.
just watching him work too.
That's tight.
Yeah. What's funny about that is like I went back the next week to try to like I kept working on that beat. Like
Oh, yeah?
I couldn't stop, even though I knew it wasn't gonna end
Yeah,
up
yeah,
being.
yeah.
It was alright, like, but I couldn't stop like thinking about it. Like fuck,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I wonder if I'm doing something. Do you ever
Yeah,
get that
yeah.
where you're like, am I doing something wrong, or is like it's time to move on? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you
no,
know what I mean?
I definitely know that.
Yeah.
That's why I have a lot of half-done beats
Right.
because I'm like, I'm hitting a wall. Okay, move on to another sample. Let's
Yeah,
go
yeah.
from here because sometimes the ideas just aren't meant to be hatched at there, but at least you have the egg there just ready to be incubated when it's time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of beats are funny like that, and it took me a while to figure that out because I thought everything had to be fleshed out and this and this and that. But I'm like, I remember talking to Charlie and he was like, man, you know how many beats I got half done that I go
Yeah.
back to and only use like 3 elements from that beat and turn it into something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, so that's normal progression. Then that's how
Yeah.
you grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's no wrong way of doing it. The more
Nah,
you do it,
absolutely
right?
not, yeah.
Because in
And
the
your
beginning,
ears mature too because
Yeah.
you're like, I was hearing it this way.
Right.
Shit, a month later you go back and be like, what was I tripping about? This was tight.
I used to think that you had to like write the lyrics first and then put it to the beat. So
Some
I would,
people do that.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
'Cause I think
found-
like Tash from the Alcoholic does that.
yes, and then eventually I was like, let me try listening to the beat because I thought everything was like okay, but then one time I think it may have been, I think Chino had said it on the interview. He said something like, if you're able to like rap whatever verse to any beat, then you're pretty much good, you know. But yeah, so I used to just write it and then apply it, and then I learned that my bars were longer that way, and then like even with that particular song with like checks in the mail, like I try to make sure the bars are short, like do piper, viper, night, hydra, you know. So I'm rhyming every half a bar,
Right, right,
you know, because I felt like I had to in order to fit that beat.
right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
because there's like for example on Exposed, I'm rapping every full bar. You know, and then sometimes it's like wherever the beat takes me, and I try to just ride the wave instead of forcing myself on it. You know,
Right.
and actually just diving into the water, just ride the wave, and you'll be straight. You know, so. But yeah.
Yeah, that's like sometimes like when I get a sample, I'm like I just need to follow what it's gonna let me do.
Yeah, like
Instead
what
of
you were
like trying
talking
to
about right now. Like you try
Yeah.
to like it's in the same frequency, like the same like the sounds you're looking for. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I've never heard someone say it like that. You're trying to you may get the samples from different places, but you're trying to
make sure it's in the
realm.
similar key somewhere
Yeah.
close or
And I'm
whatever.
like, okay, that's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, because you know I've always thought like I'm horrible at flipping loops. You know, most of the time like I'll take just a piece of music, and if
Mhm.
it has enough like notes in it, it don't even have to be. It ain't even like a groove really. It's just like a section of a song. You know,
Yeah.
and I'll just figure out a way to like take that and like kind of piece it together. That's like the only way I really know how to do it. You know what I mean? But
Dope.
so I just try to, I don't know, I just try to follow that the music like where it's gonna like take me or whatever. But sometimes there's been so many times where I like try to force the sound to do something.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
that because when you're mixing music, right? A lot of the times, if you mix things in solo, you could mix that thing and you could do to whatever EQ
Mhm.
solo to make it sound cool. But when you introduce it back into the song,
Yeah.
it sounds different. So a lot of the times you have to listen to the whole element and mess with the track within while listening to the whole composition, because sometimes the sound itself might be okay and it might sound funny solo, but when you mesh it all together,
Right.
that's when everything sounds perfect. And it doesn't
Right.
matter if it's off or the
Yeah.
rhythm
Right.
is a little different, because it's filling that gap that you needed to
Right.
fill. And a lot of the times that's kind of hard for people to get a grasp on. That it doesn't have to make sense individually, but if it's good in the composition, then just leave it be and let it
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as the
it
rhythm is
works,
staying cool, yeah.
I still
Yeah.
trip out about that. Like I remember the first time I went to the studio and I tracked the stuff out, and I was listening back as he was
Yeah.
like checking the tracks. I was like, "I'm sorry, bro. It sounds like shit, but trust me,
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah,
work
yeah,
inside
yeah.
the beat." Like I remember, it's almost like you got caught naked or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like even them, they listen to it. All they're mainly doing is checking the gains,
Right.
making sure everything, all the frequencies
Right.
go, because they understand. Like once you hit unmute on all of it and you just let it play, we're like, okay,
Yeah.
this sound is clashing with this sound, so we just need to scoop out so this one could stand out more. This synthesizer, you could hear that a little bit more when it needs to poke out. Because a lot of the times we don't realize that things are clashing, like your voice and
Yeah.
a sample might clash.
Mhm.
So you have to just, take some things out of your vocal or take some stuff out of the sample in order for your voice to poke on through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subtractive stuff that's more important than adding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where we went with that.
No, but no, I get
No,
you.
no,
No,
yeah,
you
yeah.
had me thinking about an
that's-
idea because, like sometimes, like I would have like Charlie would say, oh, it's hard to mix your voice at this part because it's at a different frequency, and that would happen also too. And I think I remember going to Shine On. Like we have to make sure that I'm not clashing with what's being heard, or like a certain like a synth. Like when you hear that Free Night song, I feel like I'm clashing. But but he figured out how to not make it sound that way. And a lot of times I'm like, well, he says I'm not, so I guess I'm not. But it still feels weird. But it's just me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is what it is.
That Free Night, that was Noah's beat.
Noah beat, yeah.
Yeah, that was Noah's beat.
Man. But yeah, man. This concludes the checks and balances series, man. Hey, man, but no, for real though, thank you for being on here, bro. And like, I don't know if you want to add anything more, but it's been a pleasure talking to you, bro. And
Yeah. Oh, I
hearing
can't
your
come back.
thoughts. Oh yeah, no,
Damn.
no.
Boom. Done.
No,
That's it.
no,
Checks
man,
in the
man,
mail,
no, I'm
literally.
saying, no, man. I'm just saying.
What if I make you more beats?
Oh no, dude, you're definitely gonna be here,
Alright,
dude.
cool.
It's I'm not kick you out ever, man. But no, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And you thank you too. For
Yeah.
still being
Yeah.
my friend.
We're here. I'm here.
I always said cloud with this dude, like, damn, dude. Like we've been friends for a long
For
time.
a long fucking time.
Like,
bro.
and we're still friends. Like, and
Long-
like, and
long
yeah.
fucking time.
And it's like,
Yeah.
you have friends that you're not as close with, but like I think about it, it's like you're the last person I think I'd be still friends with.
Damn.
You
I was-
know?
I was
And not
tell-
not
I-
not to be
yeah.
mean, it's just like young Hugo would be like, I don't think this friendship's gonna last, and we're still here, and this probably like the realest one.
And
You know?
it's so crazy. I was telling my older one the other day. I was telling her, and I was like, "Look, my friend circle dwindled down to like five people.
Oh yeah.
It went from a big crew to 5
Yeah,
people that I could count and trust on. That if my car breaks down, that I could probably call them and they could take me home.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't really have that many people in life anymore, So you got to hold on to those folks and realize when you're making mistakes and you grow together, personalities change,
Yeah.
and then you realize like, oh, I'm kind of being immature, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
They're not really hating; they're just growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do a lot of that.
But then you be like, they hate.
No, I think a lot of it's a lot of things surface from maybe
Yeah.
frustration of trying to keep up with people.
Yeah.
People's
yeah.
lives changing.
Right.
People's lives fucking get more serious, and you're free and you're trying to live and you're trying to drag them along, and you're like, oh man, this person's changing. No, that motherfucker's maturing at a different rate.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it is, and you gotta be okay with that.
Right.
And that only comes with
100%.
age. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That only comes with age.
Yeah.
And it took me it took age for me to realize that him, Charlie, like everybody just matured differently. And, a lot of the times the frustration came from just that, not telling people, not having those conversations, but that's men.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
men shit. You know what I mean? We have problems
Yeah.
talking sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the
But,
hit the subscriptions,
All that shit.
all the Montoy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And follow us, man. We out here fucking working. But yeah, we're closing it out. Checks and balances. Peace.
Peace.
Cool. Thank you for watching. If you support what we do, if you enjoy independent hip hop, go to ugomonster.com and get your copy of Checks in the Mail featuring Paavo, produced by Limit Break on SpitSlam Records. Thank you, and I appreciate your support.